All right, guys, I want to talk about the mindset and the frame in which we run our sales calls. Now, this is one of the most important modules in this entire program. So please pay attention, take notes, and take this serious. Those of you guys who will watch this and implement it will make more money than everybody else, I promise you. In B2B sales, positioning and authority is the most important thing. It's all that matters. And so we have to create a sales experience that positions ourselves as the utmost expert, so that we can actually attract the customers that we're looking for and win them over with a lot of respect and trust. And so I'm going to walk you guys through what that would look like in a second, but I want to give you an analogy first. I want you guys to think of your agency as a 5-star resort. Okay. Now I'm going to give you this story to drill this point home. So bear with me. When you guys walk into a normal hotel, you walk through some sliding doors, there's some annoying music playing. The front person at the front desk doesn't pay any attention to you. You go up there, you hit the bell, somebody comes around from the back and it's like, oh, hey, or like, can I help you? They're a little bit rude. They get you signed into a room. It's the wrong room. They overcharge you. They give you their key with no instruction on where to go. You get lost going to your room. You get to your room. Somebody's already in it. It's a horrible experience, right? That's what most of your agency's sales processes are like. It's a complete mess. People opt in. They get automations from Zoom. They don't bother showing up to the calls. And when they do, somebody's there and talking about the weather. And it's just this brutal experience, right? You guys need to start thinking at a higher level. You guys need to start thinking like you are a 5-star resort. So let's look at the alternative. Let's look at a 5-star resort experience. I show up in my car. Somebody's there to open my door. I step out of the door. They get my name, right? They take my bags out of the trunk. They put it on a trolley. They walk me to the front door. They open a giant gold door with white gloves. They guide you into the lobby. The front entrance person already has been told you're there. It uses your name when you walk in. The bell person is taking your luggage to your room as you're checking in. There's treats for you there. When you get there, somebody guides you to the elevator. There's somebody in the elevator. They make you laugh. They tell you a joke. It smells good. The music's good. They guide you to your room. They open the door. There's a bottle of champagne there. There's your name and picture on, somehow they got your picture on the TV. The curtains automatically open. It's this world-class view. And you have this experience of luxury. When the reality is the room might be similar to a standard hotel. The lobby is no different. The elevator is just an elevator, but the people are what creates that experience. And so that's what I want you guys to lean into when it comes to your sales process, is go above and beyond to create an experience. Now, something that you guys are doing wrong though, is that when you're going to make this experience, you're trying to cater to your prospects. You're trying to make everything easy for them. You're trying to give them whatever they're looking for, and you're rolling over and letting them have whatever they want. That is not a 5-star experience. And I'll give you another analogy with 5 stars. You're at a beach. You're in flip-flops and a shorts and no shirt, or in a bikini or whatever it is, and you're hanging out at the beach with your friends, and you want to go to a 5-star restaurant because you're at the resort. So you walk into the hotel, you go right to the restaurant, and you go to check in. And the host at the front entrance of the hotel stops you, or at the restaurant stops you, and is like, hi, you can't come in here wearing flip-flops and shorts and no t-shirt. But this is a 5-star restaurant. And they're like, well, I'm paying to be at the resort. Like, I just want to know the menu. Sorry, you can't walk into these doors dressed like that. We have a dress code here. You have to be in a suit and tie if you're going to come and dine at this restaurant. I apologize. And so we're at this 5-star resort, yet there's this standard, and we're actually denied access. That is the experience that we need to showcase within our agency. Prospects come in, we ask a bunch of questions in discovery, and we find out that they're wearing shorts and sandals, and we're like, hey, sorry, our agency doesn't serve people who have this and this going on within their business. Sorry, we can't help you. That is the type of experience that we want to bring. What does that do? That type of experience makes people run up to the room and get changed and showered and come back looking like the best person they've ever looked, or the best they've ever looked, so that they can have a 5-star dining experience. And so for us, that is what I want you guys to think about. We have this amazing world-class experience, but when we get pushback, when somebody tries to take over our sales process, we go, hey, sorry, we have standards here, right? You want to negotiate on price? No, we don't do that. This isn't a premium experience. We don't lower our standards for you just because you're coming in asking for a discount. And when you have that type of energy, when you have that type of experience, it brings authority. It brings a premium experience, and prospects want to buy into that. And so I challenge you guys within your sales process. You need to go into your sales calls just like this. We need to showcase control. We need to be professional and polite. We need to take control of the call to show proactivity. We need to lead the discussion with a clear itinerary. And we're going to talk about that in our next module, so that we can guide our prospects through a sales experience that we are fully in control of. They are coming to us, not the other way around. Even if you're doing cold outreach, when they get onto your sales call in your Zoom account, it is your house, your resort, your restaurant, and you set the standard. Okay. That energy is what people are drawn to. It's what people want to be around. Another kind of analogy I'm going to use finally is, if you think about Jeff Bezos, world-class entrepreneur, arguably one of the most wealthy people in the world right now. If Jeff Bezos has a problem within his business, do you think he's going to find somebody that is like a pushover, or is a really nice person who he could have a beer with, or maybe somebody that's giving him a bunch of free shit, right? No, that's not what Jeff Bezos is looking for. He's going to find the most world-class individual that is going to solve his problems, right? The expert, the utmost expert. And so that is two different things. You can have the expertise and the authority, but sometimes that doesn't look like being liked and giving value. And you guys need to separate the two of these things. And you need to lean into this concept of having authority and having expertise through a 5-star experience. Okay. So what does that look like? That looks like in discovery, asking questions that they can't answer because we know more about their business than they do. I'm going to say that again. You want to showcase that you know more about your prospect's business than they do. When you can do that successfully, you will close more deals and build so much more respect and trust for yourself in the space. And so part of this is having this mindset and this detachment from the outcome. The host at the restaurant doesn't care if you want to dine at their restaurant. It doesn't matter, right? It's not what he's looking for. He doesn't care if you come in. It doesn't affect his day. And that's exactly the same thing we want to have on a sales calls. We don't care about the outcome. We don't need your money. And that's hard for some of you guys because you really need the cash. But the reality is that in order to be able to attract these high-level entrepreneurs, we can't be needy. We can't have a scarce mindset. We have to showcase that we have an abundance world around us and we don't need their money. That is what's going to draw them in. And the hardest part for a lot of you guys is going to be manufacturing that energy when you don't have it yet. But I promise you, if you can practice this mindset of there's always going to be another deal. I have a standard that will not be changed. I do not negotiate with price. This is the price point that I have. I offer a premium experience. You are in my house. This is my dining experience. When you have that type of energy and authority, you will build more trust, more urgency, and be able to charge higher price points. And so I really challenge you guys to lean heavily into this. Some practical things that I want you guys to use. Some of you guys might journal. Some of you guys use mantras. For me, a big part of this is there will always be another deal. I say that all the time for myself. I have it pinned to my computer. When I go into a sales call, there's always going to be another deal. And when you have that mindset, you don't care about the outcome of this sales call. And so what you're going to do is you're going to lean into being the expert, and you're going to ask hard-hitting questions. You're going to challenge them. You're going to make them feel doubt about what they're doing is incorrect. You're going to challenge them to whether they know their business or not. You're going to ask them questions that they can't answer. You're going to push back in some cases and expose them for what they're doing is not correct, right? And some of you guys are worried because you might offend somebody or piss somebody off. I promise you that'll never happen. But if you have that energy trying to disqualify somebody, for example, where a prospect comes on the call and you're like, I'm going to ask them so many questions to find out if I can even help them and if I even want to. And you're digging in and you're interviewing them like they're applying for a job. That type of energy is what people are going to be attracted to. And it's also going to put them in their place a little bit for them to now try to have to prove themselves to you. Okay, so I want you to focus on that. There's always going to be another deal. The outcome does not matter. I'm going to do what I have to do to know that I can help them and poke holes in their business and showcase that I'm an expert. Now, of course, this is probably obvious. In order to do this the right way, which we're going to walk you guys through in the framework to showcase examples of how to create doubt, how to create authority, how to showcase that you're an expert, you got to know what you guys are selling. So for me, all that matters is that you know the service that you are providing better than they do. And ultimately, it's just that's the perception of it. And ideally that you understand the niche that you're selling to in a really deep way, right? So for example, if we're talking to a painting company, we're going to use terms like quotes instead of deals. We're talking to ecom. We're going to talk about average order value, AOV, and LTV versus like deal size or units being sold. You want to understand the lingo of who you're selling to. And then through that, when we ask questions, we can use that specific lingo to appear as the expert. And then we can also find specific metrics and specific data that their prospects will probably not know. And it'll help us build that authority. So, for example, in the e-com space, we can ask questions like, what's your LTV over the last 6 months? Nobody knows how to answer that question. It's a very difficult question to answer. So 90% of people are going to tell you they don't know. And now you have the authority, right? So there's all these little things that we can do to position ourselves as the expert, but it all has to come back from this white glove dining experience that showcase that we have a standard, that we do things a certain way here. We don't need your money. We're going to qualify you versus giving you everything you're looking for. And we're not trying to be liked. We're trying to be the expert. We're trying to have authority. We're not trying to be your friend. Okay. That is the mindset I want you guys to take going into this program. I'm going to give you guys tools for this. I'm going to show you how to start your calls to build authority. I'm going to show you how to ask questions to have authority. I'm going to show you how to pitch with authority. But you have to understand this deep to your core before we go into this, or it's not going to be as effective. Business owners want to work with experts, not with friends. They want to work with experts. All right, let's dive into it, guys. Go create your 5-star experience, and I promise you're going to close more deals.